Hello, this short video is meant to help you with the final part of step 4 of the writing process, focused on making sure that you've cited all your sources correctly and that you have formatted your essay correctly based on the Modern Language Association's system of citation and formatting, which is the system that we're using for this course. So once you feel confident with your revisions, whether it's global revision focusing on the larger elements of your essay, or on the local side, making sure that your sentences and your words are as strong as possible, and then also making sure that you spent some time doing some editing, making sure that your essay is as error-free as possible, just tightening up the grammar, making sure you've got all your commas, making sure that you're avoiding run-ons and fragments, etc. Once you feel confident that you've done enough work for revising and editing your essay, it's time to move into the last part of step 4, and that is again citing and formatting. So if we take a look at this page just reminds you of what your responsibilities are when it comes to citing your outside sources. So again, when it comes to formal writing, specifically academic writing, whenever we bring in an outside source into our writing and we're submitting it to an academic audience, we need to make sure that we have cited that source using whatever citation system that the course uses. And as I said, for this course, we're using the MLA system. So this is just a reminder here of what it takes to satisfy that requirement within the MLA system. And really, we're talking about two parts here. First, it's the in-text citations. So this is the citation that you include within the essay when you bring in that outside source. So whenever you bring in an outside source, whether it's a quotation or a paraphrase or a summary, you need to make sure that you are citing that outside source within the essay itself. In order to satisfy the MLA system's requirements for in-text citation, you do need to give your reader information, specific information, about that source. And that information that is required by the MLA system is the author's name and then the page number where you found that information. And like it says here, the author can appear either in a signal phrase. So again, a signal phrase is a phrase right before you bring in the outside source, just letting us know who is responsible for the ideas or even the writing of that outside source as you move into it. So again, just giving your reader an indication, a signal that you are bringing in an outside source. But you can also put the author in the parenthetical citation at the end. So this is, again, the citation at the end of the outside source. And parenthetical just means a citation in parentheses. So you could put the author there if you didn't want to put it in a signal phrase. Either works for the MLA system. It's really a matter of deciding as a writer where you want to put that author's name. Along with that author's name, if you decide to put it in the parenthetical citation, or again, if you put the author in the signal phrase just by itself, you do need to include the page number where you found this idea or these words that you're bringing into your essay. And this really only applies for sources that were originally paper sources. So if you are using one of the databases, our library databases, many of these sources were originally print sources, and so you can take a look at the PDF version of that source to see what the page number was where you got that information that you're bringing in. If there's no page number, again, if you're using a digital source, a website, or if, again, the source that you're using never was a paper source, then you just simply do not include the page number. So then you would just fall back on the author. Just a heads up here too, if your source does not have an author and you feel like it's still a reputable source, a relevant source, you can still bring in that source. But again, you have to give us some information in this in-text citation. So instead of an author, you would fall back on the title of the article or the title of the web page where you got it. So again, not the title of the website, but the title of the web page where you got it if there was no author. And then the second part of the MLA citation requirement is to include what's called a works cited page at the end of your essay. And again, that works cited page is just a list of the sources that you used and that you cited in your essay. And again, there are very strict regulations or requirements when constructing a works cited page. So if we take a look at an example of this, your works cited page should look something like this. Again, it doesn't have to have this many outside sources. You are required to have the 3 outside sources for this assignment, but again, that's a minimum. You can have more sources. So however many sources you use, however many sources you cite in your essay, those sources must be included in your works cited page. And just notice that the works cited page is its own page. It's titled Works Cited, and then it has an entry for each one of your sources. And again, each one of these entries provides the necessary information for that source within the MLA system. Now, there are many ways to go about assembling this information for each one of your entries. If you are using a library database, the library databases actually do have a way to create a citation for you within the database itself. You just click on the Cite button for a particular source, and it will give you a works cited entry, an MLA works cited entry for that source. So you could copy and paste that into your works cited page. Google Docs also has a works cited tool that you can use to help assemble your works cited entries. And then, of course, our library guide under MLA citations also has some information to help you with these entries. Now, again, your works cited page should look something like this. It should be formatted in this way. It should be alphabetized based on the author's name. But again, if there is no author, we fall back on the title of the article or the web page. So that's why you have a couple of these here that start with titles. And then notice also that it is double spaced like the rest of the essay, but it also is using what's called a hanging indentation. So every word processing program has a hanging indentation function, so you can make this entire page a hanging indent page, and then it will automatically give you this hanging indent. And a hanging indent is really just a reverse indentation where the first line is flush with the left-hand margin, and then each additional line of the entry is indented. So notice when I'm looking at this works cited page, I can easily identify where each entry starts. This is Word. I'm using the word processing program Word here. And so, for example, in this program, that function is under paragraph. Click onto here, go to indentation, and notice that this page already has a special hanging indentation. So you could just, again, highlight the page, go to special hanging indent, make that, click on that, and then your document has that hanging indentation. And every word processing program has that function. You just got to find it. Usually it's under something like paragraph and indentation. Okay, so again, when we're talking about successfully integrating our outside sources and correctly citing them, remember that we also have this document for this week that goes over this material in much more detail. It goes over the various ways that we can bring in outside sources, which is quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. And just a reminder that we should be favoring paraphrases and summaries in our academic writing when we can. And that is, again, to take an idea that we come across in an outside source and translating it into our own words, whether word for word, or I should say relatively the same length as the original, or shortening it through summary. Or we can bring in, again, the outside source as a quotation. So just remember, though, that if you are using a quote, make sure that you put quotation marks around it. If you are paraphrasing or summarizing, which again you should be looking to do when you can, make sure that you are giving me a true paraphrase or a true summary. In other words, you're not borrowing any kind of phrases or words, or I should say groups of words from the outside source. Using a single word, a keyword, is fine for a paraphrase. And so again, we want to make sure that we are paraphrasing, summarizing effectively and correctly to avoid plagiarism. Now again, remember too that you can also do a mix of quoting and paraphrasing. So if a quotation is relatively long, because we do want to avoid long quotations, and when you do quote, you could do kind of a mix of quotation and paraphrasing, right? So you paraphrase most of the idea, but you know, one sentence is really powerful and you'd like to keep that in there, so you quote that part. And like I said, there's just some more further information on this page about citing and integrating your sources. So be referring back to this page while you do this work. Okay, and also I should mention, well, before I do, just a reminder that there are plenty of resources here off of this page beyond that citing and integration or integrating sources page that can help you with the work of citing your outside sources. So like I mentioned, we do have our library guide, and it has a whole section on citing your sources. The tab is the MLA citation tab, and again, we've got a couple of handouts from the library going over how to do an in-text citation, how to do a works cited page. And then we also have the Purdue OWL Writing Lab also has, and the MLA Style Center also are sites that can help you with this work, especially if it goes beyond the basics. Like if you have a source that's a little bit more unusual, these sites can help you determine what information you have to provide in your works cited entry for a particular source. And then you always have the Reading and Writing Center that can help you with this work as well. You can take your writing to them, take your works cited page to them, take your essay to them, and they can help you navigate the in-text citations and the works cited page requirement for this essay. And I just one last thing about citations. Again, these are required. You do have to do in-text citations. You do have to do a works cited page, but I am rather lenient when it comes to doing this work correctly, especially for the first paper. So again, really what I'm looking for this first paper is effort. You know, you try to use the MLA system. You're trying to do in-text citations. You try to put together an MLA a formatted works cited page. And as long as I can see that the effort is there, you won't get your essay returned to you incomplete for this part of the essay. So again, just make the effort. Again, we're trying to develop our skills in various ways of this semester, and this is one way we're trying to develop our skills. So just make the effort, try to do this work, and then we'll continue to develop that work going forward. All right, so the very last step of this process, once you feel like you've got your sources cited correctly and you've got your works cited page completed, then it's just time to make sure that your essay is formatted correctly. And you may be doing this long before this last step, and that's perfectly fine. But just make sure that you are following the MLA system of formatting for your essay as well. So doing things like making sure that your document is double spaced, that you're using 1-inch margins all the way around, that you're using 12 size font. And again, with an academic style fonts. So I've got a couple of examples of the kinds of fonts that are accepted for academic writing. You should also have a formal heading at the top left corner of your first page with this information: your name, my name, the course title, and then the due date. And the due date should be formatted like this. No need to do headers up the top right hand corner. The MLA system does require that, but for our class, I am not requiring that because we are writing such short papers. So don't worry about needing to have a header with your name and the page number in the top right corner, even though that is part of the MLA system. For this class, we're going to skip that requirement. You do need to have an original title for your essay, and this has gone over on a separate page, focus on introductions, conclusions, and titles. So just make sure that your essay has a title and that you're putting some effort into that title, that it's not just the name of your topic, for example, that it is you have the topic in the title, but you're also making that title a little bit interesting, perhaps by hinting at the social and cultural significance of your artifact. Make sure that you're indenting each paragraph 5 spaces. The tab key on your keyboard will give you that 5 spaces automatically, so that's a shortcut for that, but make sure that that's there. And then, like it says here, just make sure that you're formatting your in-text citations and your works cited page correctly as well. All right, well, that's it for this video. Good luck with this part of the work. Again, remember, just try your best with this, and I will point out in feedback how we can continue to develop your skills in this way. But once again, good luck with this last step of the process.